said she feels that she's, two times she's been sort of her history has been robbed, both on an indigenous level and a Latinx level, right? And so she grows up as a foreigner in her own country, basically, right, where she is she is seen as a minority, right, not as what was at one point the majority. Um, and so she also traced this history up through um, the Latinx history through 20th century America, where it's very similar to African American culture at the time. That it's a Jim Crow era, and it's an apartheid state with all the abuses that go on with that. And then in the 1960s, there will be a civil rights movement for Latinos, the Chicana movement that she talks about. All right, and then the last thing she's going to talk about in terms of history will be a feminist notion of history. And let's see, I have notes here, and this is probably the best place here to sort of situate this. So the idea of feminist history is that there was, that the history that we have, the history of the world that we have, the history of civilization, which is dominated by men, is not the only history that is out there. That there is another history to look at. And this is called the mother right theory of history, or mother right theory, and it works against the idea of patriarchy, or more modern terms with its phallocentrism or patriarchy versus gynocentrism or matriarchy. Okay, and the evidence for this argument is found in literature and myth. Okay, so if you took IH1 and you read Gilgamesh, or you read the Bible, you can sort of see sort of examples of this, or what feminists refer to as evidence. Okay, so the basic idea is that what myth and mythological tales or legendary tales sort of show us is that women were both central and powerful at one time in human history, and then they were displaced by men. And they were displaced by men, and they were marginalized by male culture. So they were marginalized, otherized, and also demonized. Okay, largely to three individualities: mother, whore, or wife, and virgin.